Have you ever pulled out your banking app, take a look at your bank account, and you were shocked because you're like, I thought I had more money in there? Is that it? Raise your hand if that's ever happened to you before. Only like half of y'all, and other than Andy Moore, the other half of y'all are lying. I don't know if we all see 3.6 million when we look at our account, but that's happened to me a lot of times. Brandon Gray asked a question to open up the session yesterday morning. How many of you want to make more money? All right, now we're getting a little more honest. Someone's still lying. All right. So today I'm going to talk about a financial reset, how we can take control of our money and our future. You are in the right place if you're running a lawn care business, but you're struggling to manage cash flow and build lasting wealth. You're in the right place if you feel stuck financially. So my message today isn't for Andy Mulder. Andy, you can scroll Instagram. This isn't for you, but this is for someone who you just feel stuck financially. And you're working hard, but you're still kind of living paycheck to paycheck. Andy talked about you get a deposit from a job, and you're like, thank God, because I got to go pay all these bills. You're in the right place if that's still you. That's what we're going to talk about today, of how to get out of that. If you're unsure, how do you properly save? How do you invest? How do you actually multiply your income? You're in the right place. We're going to talk about that. You're in the right place if you want to take control of your finances and build a strong financial foundation for your business and personal life. You're in the right place if you want to stop working just to survive, but you want to be like Andy Mulder. You want to build wealth that's going to change your family tree. So today we're going to talk about the proven path to financial freedom. Andy was the exact example of this. We just saw this in living proof of how you do it. I'm going to kind of share some of the principles that Andy actually lives by today. We're going to talk about saving and investing. We're going to talk about multiplication. We're going to talk about mistakes to avoid. And we're going to talk about a wealth-building mindset. Quick introduction. This is me. I have a podcast called the Green Industry Podcast. If you actually zoom in on this little thing here, you can access the podcast. But it's every single morning, Monday through Friday, we talk about how to grow a successful business. My producer's here, Mr. Producer. And give him a round of applause. So it's crazy, but we have 3 million. This is like Andy's bank account, but this is my download account, all right? We got 3,728,000, not dollars, but at least I got the downloads, all right? Downloads and dollars aren't the same, but we're grateful for whoever. Has anybody in here listened to our podcast? Let's go. Awesome. I also create content on Instagram. I've written 5 books, and I know Brandon was hating on consultants. I was like, man, Brandon, I am a consultant. So if you were here for his session. So my story, Todd was talking about authenticity. I'm going to be extremely vulnerable and honest with you guys about my financial history. And I got my bookkeepers back here, Megan and Joey, so they know what's in my bank account, and it don't look like Andy's, does it? But I'm going to be very honest with you guys of what I've gone through and what I learned through what I've gone through. So I started a lawn care business in 2011, and I didn't know who Gray Crabtree was. I didn't know who Brandon Gray was. I didn't know this information. So I wasn't charging enough in my business, and I was working hard all day, but the money wasn't working out. I still couldn't pay my rent. So I actually had to go get a job at Carrabba's, selling pasta Wheezies and fettuccine Alfredo and all of that. So the year I started my lawn care business, I couldn't pay my rent. I went through situations where my rent was $865, and I literally couldn't pay it. So I just loaded up my stuff. I asked my friend if I could stay in their basement, and they're like, yeah, it's $200. I just left my apartment, and I guess they call it an eviction or something, but I didn't know. So I just knew I didn't have $865 and I hadn't paid rent in a while, and I left. All right. It gets worse. I didn't know about taxes. Kevin Salters was talking about you owe taxes on March 15th if you're an S corp or whatever. Well, I was a sole proprietor. I didn't know anything about estimated quarterly tax payments. So my first year in the lawn business, I thought I was going to get a refund because everyone was getting a refund. So I went and I did my taxes and all that, and I was so broke. I was like, I need this $5,000 everyone's getting, or $4,000. And so the lady, it's like, hey, your taxes are ready. So I'm pumped up. I'm like, I'm getting some money. I go in and she's like, hey, you owe $5,000 and some change. Do you want to take care of that by check or another way? And I said, excuse me? She's like, you owe $5,000. I was like, I don't have $5,000. So she's like, well, we'll just put you on a payment plan. That started a very bad pattern until when I came here in 2020, I actually sat in the table. I was at that table right there. You guys can wave. Yep, that table right there. I sat at that table. I owed the IRS over $50,000. And they charge you penalties and they charge you interest. Yeah. So, all right. I don't understand what you guys are saying, but I was broke, okay? And Megan and Joey, their booth, you guys remember your booth was over here, right? And they would come up on stage and they were talking about numbers and stuff like this. And I was thinking, man, I'd love to hire them, but I'm honestly embarrassed because if they saw my numbers, they would think I was a loser. And I was so scared to face the reality of where my finances actually was. And so I sat back there, way over $100,000 of debt. My net worth was negative. Andy's like talking about my net worth was 180, and now it's all the way up to 3.6 million. Now, congratulations, Andy. When I sat back there in 2020, my net worth was literally minus. Like it was negative. Am I telling the truth, Joey and Megan? All right, thank you. Fact check, true. All right. Now, I have a testimony. Things have turned around. I am now debt-free. All right? Let's go. I'm debt-free. And Johnny talked about a vision board. I have a vision board. And on my vision board, this is the Sarasota Bay, but I have the Gulf of Mexico all over my vision board. And Gulf of America. Gulf of America, yes. Yes, thank you. So this is a real quick side story, and I'm going to get to my notes, because at Naylor's event, I barely got through my intro, and he's like, you're done. So I used to live in an apartment in Atlanta, and I would stand, this is a true story. You've been to my apartment, Brian. You've been to my apartment, Frank. I would stand in my living room, and I'd look out the window, and it was an empty lot that they're building. They're eventually going to build a hotel there, but right now it's just a bunch of weeds and trash, and it was an ugly scene. And I would literally stand in my living room, and I'd look out my window of trash and weeds and an overgrown lot, and I would imagine that it was the Gulf of Mexico. And I'd close my eyes, and I'd open it, and I'd still see the weeds and all the gravel and the trash, but I just imagine one day I'm going to look out my window, and I'm going to see the Gulf of Mexico. Fast forward, I recently moved to Florida, and literally when I look out my window, I see the Gulf of America. It's crazy. Thank you. So, I have a prop. It's a $5 bill. I didn't have a 10 or a 20 or a 100, so I'm going to show you guys a 5. Money is a reflection of the value you create. It's called a certificate of appreciation. So, did you guys see that one picture Andy posted that was like this epic yard that he did? Do you remember that one video, that one picture that stood out? Like, what is that? Andy actually created that. But as he served his customer, they gave him what you could call a certificate of performance or a certificate of appreciation. I learned this from a rabbi named Daniel Lapin. So when I asked you if you want to make more money, how we make more of this, and hopefully it's tens and 20s and 100s, is we have to find where we can create value, whether that's putting fertilizer in someone's yard, mowing someone's yard, doing someone a hardscape, this venue, hosting a wedding, they're serving value. That's how we make money. That's how we make a certificate of appreciation, is we add value for somebody else. Does that make sense? So my main point that I want to make is that business is a noble pursuit, meaning we were created to serve others. It's a good thing what we're doing. Some people are shy about having a business, but this is a very, very noble calling. When Mr. Producer creates my podcast, he's adding value to me, and then I'm PayPaling him money. It's a win-win. But you guys being in business, the mindset shift that I had is that this is a noble calling of me serving somebody and them paying me money, and I'm not shy about it. If I know I'm going to add value to you and you're going to give me money, it's a win-win situation. Does that make sense? Doesn't sound like it makes sense. It does make sense. A lot of people are shy about being in business. This is a noble thing. So, how do you have a financial turnaround? Your network is your net worth. I want to have some real life human props come up. Paycheck, Naylor, Frank, Brian. Come on up to the stage, please. So, have you ever heard of that study? I think it was Harvard or somewhere, where they're like, you're the sum or you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. Something like that. Well, I hang around with these guys. But these guys have been a huge blessing to me. But how we can have a financial turnaround is it takes networking with other human beings. If we're just all isolated and alone, we're not going to reach our full potential. And there's 2 kinds of people in this world. There's people who are generous, and then there's people who are parasites and they're takers and they're selfish. So if you recognize someone who's a selfish parasite taker, run away from those kind of folks. That's bad. But if you find people like Dr. Frank and Brian and Naylor and John, you want to ask yourself, how can I add value to you, Frank? How can I add value to you, Brian? How can I add value to you, Naylor? How can I add value to Payjack? Because then they're going to want to help you out, and they're going to open doors for you. Does this make any sense? Okay. So Payjack, he created these badges at this event. He went above and beyond with all of this. Everyone give him a round of applause. So John, to make this event, now last year, some of y'all are clapping. Last year we had little tags that said, "Hello, my name is." You remember? You remember those? Where's Jason? This is a big upgrade. So John added value to everyone here. Now what happens is I feel an obligation. Well, I got to add value back to John. I got to figure out. But it's a reciprocal. I want to figure out, how can I add value back to him? So it's a win-win. We're both trying to help each other out. And it's the same with Naylor, it's the same with Brian, and it's the same with Frank. So I want each of them to share for 30 seconds to a minute about how networking is going to take you to that next level. Who wants to start?
I want to say, these gentlemen are not just friends to me. It's more of a brotherhood. And the thing is, I have the longest history with Naylor and Paul. And the thing is, there's times when we're not who we are today. But the thing is, we stuck together and we helped each other build and we encouraged one another. And it was kind of like, hey, at first, a lot of us were all the way down here, right? But we had a friend that might have been one step up. And if you think about it, the way that we have all accomplished this, we would help each other get to the next step up. And then sometimes it wouldn't be like, hey, I'm the guy that's going to lead everybody up. Sometimes I'd get stuck here, and I would help push another guy up the next step. And then eventually I'm like, they're going to help pull me up too. So when you're thinking about this, when you're talking about the relationships that you can create, coming to networking, things like this, reaching out to people, don't be selfish, help others that are below you. The people that are next to you, keep encouraging them and help them get to their goals. Because I'll tell you, I love these guys. And the great thing is, with Paul, he's also been able to introduce me to Mr. Producer, who has helped me get my podcast out so I could reach all of you in a better way. Because before, I was like the hidden gem, like in the Facebook groups, and most people couldn't find me. But now I have a voice. And then also with Dr. Frank, we're starting to create a better relationship now. And it's like we just keep helping each other up. And we, just with this group of gentlemen on the stage right now, besides helping people that are below us, sometimes we could just give us the push to motivate and get you guys to the next level. So these relationships help you become a better person. So that's what I want to say. I love you guys, really, and that's not just words.
Thank you, Paycheck. We love you back. Appreciate it. That was well said. I mean, the only thing that I want to add is just remember this: what you know so far will only get you this far, and the only way to get any further is to get around people that know more, so that you can learn, aka networking. So that's why you're all here. Applaud yourselves for being here. Well done.
When I first arrived this morning, the very first question that somebody asked me was, could you have imagined being where you are today in your business, or even just hanging out with a bunch of lawn bros at a convention 5 or 6 years ago when you first started working with Paul? And of course, my answer was no. I did not expect that. I was just trying to help a friend. But through serving him faithfully, serving him with excellence, at least to the best of my ability, he finally had the confidence to expose me to his network. And I'm very thrilled to say that through that association, many of you are clients of mine, but more importantly, friends of mine as well. And that would not have happened without being willing to prove myself first. And so my word for you is serve people well. And when you serve people well, you'll be amazed at how they will open up their network to you, and that really can change your life. It has changed mine financially, definitely, and I owe a lot of it to the fact of networking and having access to a network with Paul.
Thank you. Paul, it's been an honor to see how you've evolved over the past few years, and I count you as a great friend. What I wanted to say was that, I wrote it down so I get it right. There's a wise saying, it's actually in the Bible. It says, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. It's really a metaphor for giving without any kind of immediate expectations, knowing that good things will come back to you in due time. And so as business owners, all of you guys out there, here's why that works. Because if you're in a business, you own a business, you're running a business, you're really in sales. You got to have sales to keep the business going. But at a more fundamental level, if you're in sales, you're really in the trust business. And no sales happen without building trust first, because people need to get to know you, like you, and trust you to buy from you, to buy your goods and services. So that's really how this thing works, because when you give and you foster goodwill to others and do things that are helpful and cooperative, you're building trust, and that will come back to you as opening doors. It will open doors long term. It's a long-term strategy, but a solid strategy. It'll open doors to have new sales for your potential customers in your market. It will open up opportunities for additional sales to your existing customers, and will even open up doors for win-win collaborations with even your competitors.
Thank you, guys. Give them a round of applause.
I just want to say real quick, isn't it the trippiest thing to actually hear Mr. Producer live on stage right now? Is this a podcast? What kind of trickery is this?
All right. So has anybody ever bought anything from a salesperson and you knew all they wanted was a commission? I got a car recently, and that guy didn't care anything about me. Just, got my little Honda Accord, right? Has anybody ever had that experience? Would you ever do business with that person again? No. But on the other hand, John Paycheck made these badges. I feel like I got to do something for John. And then Rain. Hi. Rain and Isabel and Todd and our friends from Crestman, I don't know if Meg's still back there, right? They're like, hey, we need to work with creators. We need to work with people. What am I doing? I was like, hey, John Paycheck. And now you guys love John Paycheck, right? So it all interconnects when you serve someone else, and you can't calculate it. Now, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. If you actually try this, it will change your life. Okay, this is my secret weapon. Remember Brandon Gray said there's take one or two things away, one or two nuggets. If one of you do what I'm about to tell you to do, I promise you it will change your life, okay? You guys ready for my secret? This is literally the secret to my success. Who wants to hear it? All right. It's not what you think I'm going to say, so I don't know if you want me to tell you, because I don't think you're actually going to do it. All right. It's giving money to the poor. Now listen, they can't repay you. So someone's at the side of the road. They look like they're on drugs. They're missing teeth. Hey, man, can I get a book? One guy had a sign that said, hungry as F-U-C-K. Can I get a, wait, spare a buck. I'm hungry as. So anyway, we got kids in the room. I apologize, Jason. PG. But when you give that person $5, $10, or $20, they can't repay you. And it's going to test out, are you really a generous person? Because you could be nice to somebody, you could be nice to Jason, but then you're really hoping, well, I hope Jason's nice back to me. But when you give to the poor, they can't do anything for you. They might go spend it on who knows what. So that's why I said probably no one in this room is going to try it. But if you actually do that, to give a Bible verse like Frank says, it says, if you lend to the poor, God will repay you. I promise you, if you start trying that, it's crazy what will happen in your life. I got 5. Come here. Come on. There you go. I'll put it right there. That's 5. All right, real quick. Jason, what time is it? 3:40. All right. These are a couple of my mentors. So it's very important to have mentors in our life who's gonna draw us to the next level. So every Monday and Thursday, I go to a Bible study with Myron Golden in Tampa. This is my business consultant, Justin, who helps me become a better business person, and I'm going to see him in San Antonio next week. Every Tuesday, I meet with my friend Zach. We started meeting together a couple years ago, and he had 0 YouTube subscribers, and we just started to keep each other accountable to reach some of our goals in life. He now has 4 million YouTube subscribers. And we meet, it's crazy. But I add value to Zach, and Zach add values to me, and we meet every Tuesday, and we talk about our business goals for the week, and then we reconvene on how we did it. And then Joey and Megan, they have helped me so much. So one mistake that I was making back in 2020, I was making a lot of mistakes, but I wasn't paying myself as an owner in my business. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but Joey gives me stats and data. A lot of folks who have a lawn care and landscaping business made the same mistake I did and you're just running your business, you're running your business, you're running your business, and you just pull money out of your account whenever you need money. Okay? That's a really bad habit that I was in. And so a game changer that Megan and Joey taught me was, we're going to start paying you an actual set amount each month. And once I started doing that, it really exposed how unhealthy my business was, because I paid myself the amount that Joey recommended, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to afford to pay myself that much. And he's like, well, your break even is you have to make this much this month to be able to comfortably afford that. And since we had that meeting, Joey, that was in 2020, I believe, I've never had a month revenue-wise where I haven't brought in that amount of money since that meeting. It's been 5 years. So what happened was, once I started paying myself as the owner of my company a set wage, it lit a fire under me to get out there and work hard so that every month I can make enough money to pay myself, to pay my taxes, to pay Mr. Producer, to pay all my expenses, and to be profitable. Okay, so this is super important. It's called budgeting. So at the beginning of every month in our business and in our personal, we need to set a budget. How many people do budgeting? I'm not seeing too many hands. Maybe I need glasses. How many people have a monthly budget? All right, let me ask it this way. How many people don't have a budget? You're just willy-nilly rolling with it? So a budget is, and you can use a yellow pad or you could use a spreadsheet, but you literally just write down what your rent is, what your grocery is, what your gym membership is, if you have children, what their activities are. And then at the end of the month, this is more important than the beginning of the month, then you track how the budget went. And so I literally do this every single month. At the beginning of the month, I set the budget for the month. And then at the end of the month, I have a lady I work with. She's a budgeting coach, Layla. And we look at my personal budget if I did what the game plan was. And then I meet with Megan and Joey frequently, and they're telling me about my profit and loss statement, my statement of cash flows, my balance sheet. I didn't know what that stuff was. Like, I knew what it was, but I didn't know how to read those reports in 2020 before I started working with the landscaping bookkeeper. Now I know my numbers, and I'm profitable, and it's awesome. So every single morning, I actually update my spreadsheets manually. I log in and I type in. I do the profit first system, a hybrid of it, and I update what my checking account balances are, what in personal and business, and I'm just updating my spreadsheets, and it's helped me a lot. One of the reasons why Andy has a $3.6 million net worth is he's a hard worker. So a work ethic, when you do a good job, it's going to open up doors. It says, you see someone who is skilled in their work, they will stand before kings. They will not stand before obscure men. This picture was taken after Tiger Woods won the Masters golf tournament in 2019. The president invited him to the White House to celebrate him. When we become the best at what we do, we're going to get noticed by higher up people. Does that make sense? So if you're spraying fertilizer, if you're mowing grass, if you're doing landscaping, or if you're in another business, become the best, the absolute best. And it's going to move the needle financially. Once you have a strong work ethic, then you need a strong reputation. This man right here, Billy Graham, he lived 100 years, and when he died, you never heard about a scandal. You never heard about something he did that was inappropriate. He was faithful to his wife, Ruth. I don't know how many years they were married, but maybe like 50 or 60 years. But he lived a life of integrity. So if you will work hard and you will have integrity, there are customers that you are going to attract. A good name is more desirable than great riches. So do a good job, show up on time, and be honest. So one of the things that Myron Golden's challenged me on is he talks about, and hear me out before you try to stone me, he talks about getting rich quick. Now let me explain how how he explains it. Naylor, I don't know if I'm going to do a good enough job. Naylor's in his program. But his point is, I want to earn as much wealth as I can as fast as possible so that I can spend time with my family and enjoy that money. Does that make sense? And so the faster that we can achieve financial freedom, then hopefully the more time we're going to get to have to spend with our loved ones, whoever that is in your life. And so the more time we spend wasting scrolling on social media, we're just slowing down our destiny. Because if we weren't scrolling on social media, but we were serving another customer better, we're going to get wealthier faster. Does that make sense? And so that didn't sound like it made sense. Does that make sense? So Myron Golden, he doesn't watch sports. This is convicting to me. He doesn't. If guys are over here talking about who won the game, he gets irritated. He's like, that doesn't move the financial needle in your life. Why are you worried about that? Not that he's greedy, but he wants to get rich fast so that he can enjoy it with his wife, who he's been married to. He's 63 years old, but he just loves spending time with his wife and his kids and his granddaughter, and he's focused on success in business so he can be there for his family. Does that make sense? So, if you guys need help raising your prices, you can scan this. It's called my price increase letter template, but it will help you raise your prices in your business. Most lawn businesses haven't raised their prices in the last 6 months, and so I'm running out of time, so I don't have time to explain why you need to raise your prices. But essentially, what I would tell your customers, you can just write them a letter and say, hey, all my costs are going up. My fuel cost is going up. My labor cost is going up. And you can list out all the expenses that are going up in your business, and then you can just explain to them, in order to absorb these costs, I have to raise your price, Mrs. Smith. I know we were cutting your grass last year for $65, but starting on March 1st or starting on April 1st, it's going to be $72. And so that's all I would say. And I have a little template that actually says all of that. The next principle I want to talk about is saving money. So Brandon Gray challenged us to save 2 months of expenses in our business. By a show of hands, how many people in your business have a savings account that would cover 2 months in your business? John Paycheck, Mike, good job. Andy, Tad, good job. So I'd say about 30% of the room. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if you don't have 2 months. But this is a fantastic goal for 2025, is however much it costs you to operate your fertilization business or lawn business or landscaping business, whatever business you have. I know we have people here that's in the trash can bin cleaning business. My friend Chris back there, he cleans my sister's trash can in Charleston, South Carolina. So figure out what it costs for 2 months of your business and set that aside. Joey, how many of your customers have 2 months of business expenses set aside, percentage-wise? Not enough. This is a great goal. Then on the personal side, most experts would say to have 3 months of business expenses, which I agree with. So saving money is important, but investing money is also important. So Brandon talked about investing in our business. And it says to invest in 7 ventures in 8, for you do not know what disaster may come on the land. So have you ever heard of all your eggs in one basket? It's a bad idea, because Tracy and I were just talking about there was something that we were investing in, and it ain't going so hot, is it? And we were used to it. But what if that was the only thing we did, and all of our eggs were in that basket? We'd be devastated. But it was kind of like, oh, well, we got some other things that are going on, and hopefully that, investment will pick back up. But it's smart to reinvest our profits in our business, and I personally have money invested in the S&P 500. This is for entertainment purposes only. This isn't, tax advice or investing advice or anything. But consider investing in many different places like real estate, the stock market, and most importantly, your business. So does that make sense to your investments to be dispersed in many different spots and not all the eggs in one basket? I'm getting some head nods. This is good. So here's what rich people do. They invest in assets that appreciate. So Andy's real estate that he bought, 5 years from now, do you think that's going to be worth more or less than it's worth now? Guarantee it. It's going to be worth more. If Andy would have bought that sports car, in 5 years from now, would that sports car be worth more or less? Guarantee it. Less. So any dollar that we spend, we have to ask ourselves or invest, is this going into something that's going up in value or is it going down in value? What rich people do is they invest in things that go up in value. What goes up in value? Over time, the stock market has just gone up in value. Statistical fact. Real estate, unless you're in the hood, real estate is usually going up, right? This Trustville, every time I come and visit Jason, I feel like Trustville, maybe it's just me, Tracy, doesn't it seem like it's growing? Yeah, every time I come here, I'm just like, man, it's growing fast. So if you have a home here, 5 years from now, it's going to be worth more. Now, your business should be an appreciating asset, but it goes back to what Brandon was talking about, is how good is the coach, right? If you're building your business good, it should be going up, but if you're a bad coach, it might not be good. So be very careful of these. And this is what you see on Instagram, right? Look at my fancy car. Well, Mr. Fancy Car, I drive a Honda Accord, okay? So I ain't got no fancy car, but why would I spend a bunch of money on a vehicle that's going down in value, right? Maybe to get a girlfriend, that'd be a good idea. But if she don't like me for my Honda, then that's too bad. Electronics are going down in value, right? My brother yesterday texted me. He's like, your shirt, he was making fun of my outfit. Apparently I didn't look cool enough yesterday, but I don't care. You know, I get my clothes off Amazon. Because clothes are going down in value. Furniture and stuff like that, it's going down in value. So just be careful. Just think about, if I make this investment 5 years from now, is it going up in value or is it going down in value? I'm landing the plane here, Jason. Where is Jason? All right. What time is it? All right. I'm landing the plane. So you can take a picture of this if you want, and this is just what I declare every day. Okay? So I have a little I have a vision board, but I also have a dream book. And in my dream book I have different pages that are things that I want to see happen in my lifetime. So I just say these things every day. I say, I am blessed to be a blessing. I say, my personal income is increasing. See, our words are powerful. When you say something positive, it's powerful. If you say something negative, it's crazy. When I was playing Little League Baseball, I was pitching, and I wasn't doing a good job, and someone that was a fan said something really mean to me. I was in B League, which I was about Carson's age, playing little baseball. One of the fans said something really nasty to me. I can still remember it, and I'm a grown man. But it was the powerful word, but it was a negative powerful word. So I try to stay away. See, when I hang out with Frank and Naylor and Brian and Jason Creole and Paycheck and my friends, they're encouraging me. They're like, Paul, we see greatness in you. Like, you're going to crush it with this endeavor they're going on. They're speaking life over me. I surround myself with people who use their words to create a great future. My savings accounts are increasing. I declare this every morning. My savings account is increasing. If you guys need a savings account, visit Relay. Amen. All right. Everything I set my hands to prospers and succeeds. I honor God with my finances. I have a growing financial portfolio. God gives me ideas that produces great wealth. My bank accounts are overflowing with financial increase. I am highly proactive. I'm enjoying a debt-free life. When I started saying this every single morning, I literally had way over $100,000 of debt, didn't I, Joey? But every morning, I'd open up my little dream book, and I would declare to the world, I would declare to all the stars that are out there, wherever, because when you have a sound wave, and Mr. Producer can attest to this, it's a green little wave, right? But that sound never ends. It's not like it gets to Mississippi and then it stops. From what I understand, the frequency of the sound just keeps going. Is that true, Frank, or not? It's a what? Attenuation? Okay, so every morning I was saying, I am enjoying a debt-free life. I'm enjoying a debt-free life. I'm enjoying a debt-free life. And guess what? Now it's 2025, and my reality is I'm actually enjoying a debt-free life. I don't owe anybody any money, and I might not have a $3.6 million net worth, but I don't have any stress. Sorry, Andy. But my point is, these are powerful. I have extraordinary opportunities given to me. I'm not going to share the story because I don't think it's appropriate, but Naylor, would you say I've had some extraordinary opportunities given to me that you couldn't manufacture in a million years? Right. But every morning I would wake up and I would declare, I have extraordinary opportunities given to me. And I actually believed it. And that's a secret, but Naylor can tell you, am I telling the truth? There's something that happened in my life that I'm just like, you guys wouldn't probably believe me, so I'm not even going to tell you. But Naylor's a man of honesty, and he's telling you something crazy happened in my life behind the scenes. I have an abundance mentality, okay? I expect God to accelerate things in my life. All right, so that's basically my presentation. I want to say this. If you guys have a business and you're doing over $500,000 a year in revenue and you're looking for a consultant, I am not your guy. Andy, are you currently helping people consulting? No. Okay, Andy's not your guy. Brandon Gray is your guy. So if you're doing over $500,000 in revenue, don't